I'm your host, Laura Peterson from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So lots of great stuff to talk about today. First of all, we're going to start with the stats, which is what we do every week. And so I am actually just pulling them up right now. Do you believe it is November? And this is actually the weekend that we fall back. And so daylight savings time and all that kind of good stuff. So we should all have had an extra hour of sleep today. And so that's all good as well. Okay, so looking at the number of single family homes that sold last week, it was actually 440. And it was 365 the week before. So that's actually a pretty healthy number. Now, I think that part of that is because of what was going on with the hurricanes, that everything, kind of came to a standstill a couple of weeks ago. And then last week it was picking up, but after the storm, all of the homes that are going to close actually have to go through some review process to make sure that there isn't any storm damage, and so that can take a little bit, so that's probably why it's up. And then next week should be up even higher because it's obviously the end of the month and everything, which causes the amount of properties that sell to go up as well. When we're looking at the single family homes, of the 440 of them, 38 of them were under 250,000, 37 between 250 and 300. 120 between 300 and 400, 85 between 400 and 500, 136 between 500 and a million, and 24 of them were over a million. Now the median price was at 429, which is down a little bit from the week before, so you just got to keep that in mind. But looking at it, the months of inventory were at 4.07 overall. Under 250, we're at 2.73. 2.65, 250 to 300, then we go to 3.15, 4.35, 4.32, and then over a million, we're at 7.65. So basically, a normal market is considered between 4 and 8 months of inventory. So we're right on the cusp of a normal inventory when we're looking at everything right there. So then the list to asking price, asking to list price is actually at 96.99, 97. Under 250 was at 93.47. Then we go to 96.35, 97.78, 98.69, 97.27. So still between 300 and a million are pretty much sticking pretty close to that 98 or in the 97%, and then it goes to 94.5 over a million. So on both edges, now the thing that has changed is actually up to 300 is also considered kind of, a low, lower that you can make some adjustments and that kind of thing on the houses in that price point. So when we're looking at the condos, townhomes, and villas, there were 98 that sold last week, 99 the week before, so they stayed pretty consistent. The median price of condos, townhomes, and villas increased to 292,000. So that's the good news when it comes to that, but their inventory is looking pretty strong when we're looking at the inventory of the condos, townhomes, and villas. So of those 98, 36 were under 250, then 15 between 250 and 300, 27 between 300 and 400, 10 between 400 and 500, 9 between 500 and a million, and 1 was over a million. And when you're looking at the months of inventory there, overall we're at 8.93. When you're under 250, we're at 8.96. 8.86 between 250 and 300, 8.59 between 300 and 400, 10.78 between 400 and 500, 8.31, 500 and a million, and then over a million, we're at 5.54. And actually, their list to ask price stayed pretty consistent at 96.72 overall. Again, under 250 was at 93.47. Over a million, that one sold at 99.79. There was only one that sold, as you may remember. But basically, the bottom line is when we're looking at this and what's going on, with the market and all of those kinds of good things, that I think that the market is still really stable. If you are looking at selling your property, you do have to be very conscious of what the price is. The price is so critical when it comes to this, and especially in the condos, townhomes, and villas, because when you're looking at that with an average of 8 months of inventory, that's a lot of inventory, and so that is definitely a buyer's market. So if someone's going to choose your property above somebody else's property, you've got to give them a good reason to do that, and it starts with price. We were talking to a lady this week, and she was talking about listing her property in an area that definitely there's a lot of very similar, almost 100% similar, because they have the same interior, they have the same everything. And so when it came down to it, and she was looking at it and deciding what she wanted to do in regards to the price, we were trying to encourage her to definitely stick with the great price is what she needs to do. And she was pretty much fighting with us, saying that, well, I know you guys can advertise it very well and get more people in and get a higher price. And I was like, yes, of course we can. However, what's going to happen is that people are going to come in and then they're going to see her house compared to somebody else's house, and they're going to say, well, why am I going to pay this extra money for that house when I can buy this one for cheaper, when they are exactly the same? Because this was in a condo hotel, and on a condo hotel, obviously everything has got to be exactly the same. It's got the same linens, it's got the same furnishings, it's got the same everything. The only thing that could be a little different would be the view. And in this resort condo hotel, basically every view is pretty much the same. It's on the 6th floor, the highest is 7, so that's not really too much, but they all pretty much look onto other buildings. You might have a garden that you look down on, or you might look down on a pool or a parking lot. This one looks down on a garden, but it's not going to give you an additional $50,000. It might give you an additional $5,000, but it's not going to give you a huge amount, because people aren't spending time on the balcony or looking at it. And when they go to check in that hotel, they're going to get the same amount, whether they're going to, your unit that might be a little bit more, or if they're going to another unit, because that's just kind of how it works. So it's just kind of crazy the way that shakes down. And so when you're talking about that kind of thing, that people do have choices. And if somebody's offering their property at $50,000 less than yours, I mean, obviously you're going to take the one that's $50,000 less when there really isn't any difference, because their computer programs come out that you have to rent it through them, so they come out within $10 a month of each other of the return on investment. So that's one area where it's just kind of a total no-brainer that it's price sensitive, but the whole market is that way. If you're selling a condo and there's 8 months of supply out there, you have to do something to stand out. And in the past, potentially, if there's limited inventory and they're going to come in and see your house versus seeing another house, and they can make their decision based on that. But in this particular situation, the way that it is that they're not going to be able to do that, because everything is exactly the same. And the way that it is now is, even if your house is far superior to some of those other properties, the challenge is that are they even going to make it to yours, because they're going to start with the lower ones and go up from there. So it might be that they do that, but it might be that they just never even make it to your property, which is obviously a problem. So in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we'll see you after the break.